everyone, my name's Danielle and welcome to another episode of Board Game Bakes. This week we're going to focus on The Wolves by Pandasaurus Games, which is obviously highlighting wolves. So we're going to do the same. We're going to try some pie decorating, which I always thought looked so cool but I've never tried before. So we're going to make a blueberry pie, and this will kind of function as our night sky. And then we're going to make a pie crust that can go on top, and we're going to decorate it to look like a wolf howling at the moon. Ow! Let's get started. Time to dive into the world of pie art. Whee! Here we go. Start with the pie crust, which is one of the most intimidating parts of the pie for me. First, I recommend measuring all your ingredients and then putting them in the fridge so they're nice and cold. Once chilled, take out a little flour and dust over your butter. And you're just going to toss that around, which is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter that's been cut into 1/2-inch cubes. To the remaining 2.5 cups of flour, add in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 teaspoon of salt. Give it a quick mix. Add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar to 1/2 cup of cold water, and this is your wet ingredient you're going to add in. Now that everything's prepped, pour the flour mixture into your food processor and spread it evenly around. And then put the chunks of butter on top of the flour and make sure those are evenly dispersed. Obviously, you can do these things by hand, but I'm going to let the food processor do the work. Close the food processor and pulse it 7-8 times until it looks like the butter is about pea-sized. Scrape down the sides and put the lid back on. While pulsing the mixture, slowly pour the water vinegar mixture in. Keep pulsing until large chunks are able to form, but the dough doesn't form a solid chunk. Take it out and then knead it to finish bringing it together. Divide the dough in half and roll into 2 circular discs. Put those discs in the fridge for at least 1 hour to let it rest and come together. Now that our dough is chilled, take out one of your circles and roll it so it's at least 9.5 inches across, so that you could trace your pie dish and get the perfect circle to seal your pie. Once your circle is cut out, it can be returned to the fridge, and you could keep your scraps for more pie art. For your second dough, roll it to 12 to 13 inches in diameter. I have a nifty mat that shows me how big to make it. I try to put my rolling pin in the center and push it out, and then rotate the whole pie 90 degrees. Use your rolling pin to get off the counter and gently drape it over your deep dish pie pan. This pan apparently is super deep dish, so you may want to go at a more shallow pan. Use your hands to gently press the pie crust along the sides of the pan and make sure that there's no gaps between the dough and the pan. You don't want any air pockets. Once everything feels good, take a knife and cut off the extra dough. Unlike a normal pie, you're going to cut it so it's straight across and a little lower than the top of the pan. This way, there's somewhere for you to rest your decorated crust. Back to our fancy crust. Take a wolf head stencil and gently outline it on your circle. Figure out where you want your skyline to be, and then mark some rough trees in there. Create a 1/2-inch border around the top of the pie, and then cut out the space between the border and your wolf and trees. This is where we'll be able to see our blue pie come through like the sky. Next, roll out your extra pie dough and cut out a wolf head. Use a thin knife to cut some slits in the fur and for the closed eye. To add to your current structure, brush some egg whites on the wolf outline you created, and carefully put the wolf you cut out on top of it. You may have to gently move it and stretch it to have it fit the same size as the original outline. The top of our pie crust above the wolf is very thin, so we need to make it a little sturdier. Take some more of the pie scraps, and after you rolled it as long as you can, cut into 3 long strips. Now take turns crossing the right and left strands over the center until your long strips have formed into a nice and long braid. Take some egg wash and brush the top of the border, and carefully put the braid on there and push it so it sticks. For the rest of the space around the wolf, roll out some pie crust and use a thin, or I guess tiny, Christmas tree cutter to put some small trees there. Likewise, those will be attached using the egg wash. Hey everyone, while you're here, thank you for checking out this video, and there's tons of more videos like it, so make sure you hit some of the other playlists. Bye! Use a pointed object like a toothpick to add some lines to the wolf and trees. The trees are made by doing small rows of little lines to create a pine tree look. For the wolf, I found a cute multi-ridge tool to help me create a fur effect. Once you're happy with your tree and fur marks, it's time to whip out some edible paint. Mix some black, brown, and orange together to get a fur color. It should be lighter by the snout and get darker past the eyes. Use black to fill in the holes that we created, which is what we did when we cut out the dough originally. Also make the fur, beyond that, a very dark brown or a black color. So as we go from the snout back, it progressively gets darker. While it dries, make a dark green color to put on the trees. I dabbed each row by row to help try and emphasize the layered effects on the tree. Between a lot of the steps in the video, I put it back in the fridge because you don't want your pie dough to get very hot. Now add a little bit of white paint on your wide bristle brush, and you're going to brush it all over the wolf to have an overall gray effect, which is kind of how I picture a wolf. Once you're happy with your picture, take your egg wash and carefully brush over your braid so it gets a nice color when you bake it. Transfer your parchment paper carefully to a large baking sheet. Bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 14 minutes until it's a nice golden color. While the crust is in the oven, prep your filling. Add a half a cup of granulated sugar to 5 cups of blueberries. Mine are partially frozen, or you could use fresh. You're going to mix it up and let it sit for 10 minutes. Once that's done, mix in 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar with 2.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. You're going to mix it together so it can be more easily spread around. Add the mixture along with a 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon, 2 teaspoons lemon juice, and 1 teaspoon of lemon zest, which I add those together, to the blueberry mixture and mix it all together. Pour the mixture into the pie crust, which is what we prepped earlier in the video. Spread it out evenly and then bake the whole thing on a baking sheet at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. And then you're going to lower the temperature to 375 degrees and bake for another 30 to 40 minutes until the blueberries start bubbling. When you take it out of the oven, remove the foil if you add it. Then take a calming breath and use a pie pal to transfer your cooked pie crust onto the pie. Ooh, or I guess, ow! We made a wolf pie! Thanks for watching another episode of Board Game Bakes. I had so much fun trying pie art, and it was nice that the different parts came together slowly, but overall, I didn't really feel like it took that much time compared to all the work that's involved in a cake. If you're looking for something creative but not as hard, I recommend trying this pie art. It's fun. If you're going to start, what's your favorite pie? I feel like I haven't tried enough pies. They're currently just apple pie. I feel like I have a lot of pie to try. Keep playing games and keep them sweet. Bye!